All right, Yalak, it's September 20, 2016, and this lesson is about Nineveh's repentance. I'm doing this one because I'd mentioned in a previous video, maybe the last video, dealing with the Syrian Christians in the New Testament is Fake series, that the people from other nations, it's not that they're not necessarily going to have any access to the Most High. It's just that the Most High is dealing with Israel. But we've seen at other times that sometimes people from other nations would receive some kind of mercy from the Most High. So I just wanted to mention these few words here just so people don't run too far with it to think I'm saying something I'm not, right? We know that in verses like Micah 4:2 that the nations are going to come to the Most High later on. So now really isn't their time per se to be serving the Most High fully. But still, it cannot be denied that you're going to have some people who have some interest in the God of Israel prior to that time coming, right? And so, yeah, I just want to make a note on this right here. And if we look here from Jonah, since I'd mentioned Jonah in that video, Jonah, we know, was sent to speak to the people of Nineveh, right? If we look here in Jonah chapter 1, the Most High sent him to go. And Jonah chapter 1, verse 15 says, "So they took up Jonah and cast him forth into the sea, and the sea ceased from her raging." So that's because the storm had started to happen, right? Because Jonah was on the boat. Men got scared, went through all that it said they did, praying and whatever to their gods, eventually came down to throwing him overboard. Now verse 16 says, "Then the men feared the Most High exceedingly, and offered a sacrifice unto the Most High, and made vows." Now you have to see what's happening right here, right? Because people are going to want to be saying, "Oh, but you were talking about the other nations serving the Most High, like salvation is just for Israel and so on," right? So that's really why I'm trying to say this to clarify things here, because when you read to different parts of the Old Testament, you see that people from other nations were coming among Israel. Like they were sojourning or whatever the case, they were even serving in the army, right? For instance, under David, in David's time. You remember the story of Doeg the Edomite, right? These people were with Israel, serving in Israel, right? They were living among Israel. And they were calling on the God of Israel, right? They knew the laws, statutes, and commandments, whatever that Israel should keep. And they were treated just like they were one of us, right? Now, did their whole nation necessarily turn to the Most High? No, that's not what I'm saying. But you get one or two, right? So now when you look at people today saying, "Oh, this isn't for you, this isn't for you, it's just for the Israelites that are scattered," I'm not saying you're going to go out and chase after other nations trying to bring them the truth of the Most High, because I don't do that myself. But while I'm looking for Israel to learn of the Most High, learn that they are Israel, if someone from another nation comes asking me questions, of course I'm going to answer them. Of course I'm going to show them the truth of the Most High. But I'm not going out primarily to look for them. But if they ask me questions, then yeah, if I'm talking to a brother, letting him know he's Israel and explaining certain things from the Christian church or whatever, certain deception and so on, and telling him, what things were hidden from us in the scriptures because of our captivity and so on. And there happens to be someone from another nation right there listening in, and then they know what they're taught in their Christian church as well, and they want to ask a question or two right there while I'm teaching about it. Yeah, they're in the room, of course I'm going to answer them, right? But you see what I'm saying? I'm not going out looking for them, right? So now these men, it says here in Jonah 1:16, look at what happened in their case though. They were not Israel, right? It said, after they took him up and threw him in the sea, they feared the Most High exceedingly, because I'll try to show you that, because people say, oh, brother, you're going off because salvation is just for Israel. These people don't have no access from other nations, don't have no access to the Most High. These men here in Jonah 1 verse 16 says, it says they feared the Most High exceedingly. Can you fear the Most High and do it exceedingly if the Most High isn't touching your heart? Who causes that fear in these heathens' hearts? You think their God caused the fear in their heart of the Most High to happen? Why would their God want to do that? It must be the God of Israel / the Creator who allowed them to reach that point. They feared the Most High exceedingly, which means they had a lot of it, right? At the moment, and offered a sacrifice unto the Most High. Not only did they fear, but they offered a sacrifice unto him, which means, I mean, come on, they're getting deep with this thing now. And they even sacrificed unto, oh, but I thought salvation isn't for Israel. And they sacrificed. This isn't for you, Gentiles. And they sacrificed. You don't have no place in this. And it says they sacrificed unto the Most High, and then go even further again. We got step 1, they feared. Step 2, it was exceeding. Step 3, these things that they did, they sacrificed. And number 4, they made vows. Yet they were not Israel. See that? So sometimes we just gotta caution ourselves. I know we were taught certain things and so on, right? But I mean, you gotta look at this really and see. Sometimes, I mean, I hate to say it, but in some cases, it's like we're just hating on other nations just because our captivity is hard. Just because it's hard. When the scriptures teach that we got in this spot based on our choices, talking now collectively or fully as the nation. Our forefathers did that, and we got in this spot, our nation, because of our nation's choices. So why are we hating on the people that the Most High used to punish us? Right? And in the end, he's going to deal with them, because after they punish us like that, he says that I'm going to deal with them. So their judgment's going to come too. But they got their hands on us to bring us under their power and into slavery and so on because of our choices. So, and the thing too, is we're talking about America, 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 and I mean, should we then be hating these modern Arabs as well, who had us in slavery? Maybe we are so caught up with the American slavery, although of course we know it's not just America that the slaves were at, but you get the point still. Maybe we're hating people around us right now more because we weren't alive during the Arab slave trade when our people were conquered and taken over and made slaves. The horrible things that they did to our people back then, right? So maybe our people were just hating them at that point and wasn't necessarily hating America. But because we're living now, we're hating America, right? Because it's just now when we're living. When the truth is that it's different nations who did these things to us. So I understand, but the truth is that, I mean, come on, consider it. If you were on the other side, where you belong to one of these nations that had us as slaves, but you didn't agree with the slavery and so on, and you loved the slaves, even though you weren't one. You were a part of the power nation that were enslaving the slaves, the Hebrews. And you loved the Hebrews' God, and you didn't agree with what was happening to them, and you wanted to make their time in slavery easier. Slip them a little food, extra food sometimes, slip them some water sometimes, you go talk to them, whatever, whenever, your father or whoever, whatever you call them, is not around and so on, or the officials weren't around. You try to be as nice to them as whatever, right? You're siding with them in your heart. And the more you talk to them, you learn of their God and you learn of their plight and whatever. I mean, you want to see these people free, right? Now, and if you teach that to your children, and 200-300 years later, your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and so on grow up to feeling the same way about these people as you do, then later on what you find is in your line of people, you've got a people from your nation that's oppressing the Israelites who side with the God of Israel and side with his people. Now, if you want to turn, if your great-grandchildren now, being like that, want to turn to the God of Israel, would you want them to be excluded when they never agreed with and tried to make your life easier? Tried to hide slaves and so on and whatever, and try to free however many of them that you could, right? As they love you, they love your God. So this blanket statement is that they don't love us, they don't love us. I mean, sometimes we gotta, because I mean, if you were on the other side and you felt like that towards the God of Israel and towards the slaves, and you wanted to really come towards God of Israel and learn more of his Torah, his instructions and his laws and so on, because you feel that's the way that people really should be living on the earth, you wouldn't want to be excluded either. If I was on the other side and I loved these people and their God, I would not want to be excluded. So I'm not saying anything here that says we still can't be Israel. Right? That's not what I'm saying. But just try to have some balance here. Maybe sometimes we're running too far trying to hate people. Right? Maybe. I mean, sometimes we just got to consider this, right? Now, where the scripture is saying that in the end, in the book of Isaiah, how they're going to carry our children on their shoulders, right? When we're heading back to Zion. Who do you think is going to carry our children? That's an act of endearment. It's the ones who favor us and love us who are going to do that. Who weren't fully destroyed. Their nation might have been destroyed and overcome. And now they're traveling with us back to Zion to serve us, right? And to bless us with their hands, with their help and so on, even carrying our children on their shoulders. Why? Because those are the ones of the nations around us who weren't completely destroyed along with their nation, because the Most High favored them and chose to have them continue to live to survive the demise of the destruction of their nation. You see what I'm saying? Those are the ones that are getting the chance for salvation, to come and learn, like in Micah 4:2, Isaiah 2:3, of the God of Israel. So the Most High is choosing to show them some mercy, right? So in verse 16, the men feared the Most High exceedingly and offered a sacrifice unto the Most High and made vows, but they were not Israel, right? They did all these things, right? Why were they doing all these things? Because they just threw over a prophet of Israel, a man of the Most High. So they start to fear now and repent and, because it's like we just threw over a prophet of the Most High that we knew was of the Most High, because he admitted it. So you see what was in their heart? They never wanted to even do that. Now if you run over now to chapter 3 of Jonah, in verse 3. So Jonah arose and went, after some stuff had passed now, Jonah arose and went unto Nineveh according to the word of the Most High. right? So he went there, and verse 10 of chapter 3, and the Most High saw their works, that they turned from their evil way, and the Most High repented of the evil that he had said that he would do unto them, and he did it not. You see that they repented, they turned from the evil way. A heathen nation heard the word of the Most High, even though it's not Micah 4:2 time yet, but they heard the word of the Most High spoken unto them by someone who was now willing to share it, because the Most High dealt with him with the fish and all that, fish belly and all that. So now he was willing to speak the word. And they chose to turn. So when we're saying that the heathen don't love the Most High and so on, it's the word of the Most High that can change people's hearts. And this is a whole city of Nineveh, whose wickedness was so great that it came up before the Most High. Right? Now if you look here at chapter 4, and verse 11. And should not I spare Nineveh, that great city, wherein are more than 60,000 persons that cannot discern between their right hand and their left hand, and also much cattle. They can't discern between their right and their left. Now let me ask you this. Come on. They can't discern between their right and their left. Don't we all pretty much teach of the great deception that's going on in our modern world through our school system, educational system, and whatever, through the books we have available in the library? Sometimes when you want to find a real good book in the library, you got to search in different libraries. The larger the library, sometimes the better. You got to search at your own books from other avenues and so on, right? A lot of deception has been taught to us, even with the pagan holidays and so on, whatever, right? A lot of deception. So now what you have now is, you're living in societies where people don't know and can't discern between their right hand and their left, because they're taught something that's wrong. Deception rules today. And so you find people who, they could care less if you say you're Israel. They don't know any different, right? They don't think you're different from them other than just your skin color. But in terms of the Bible, they don't even see you in it. You can't be Israel. They can't discern anything where truth is concerned, right? Because society's been taught lies about who the children of the Most High are. They've been taught lies. Even when they're sitting in church, they've been taught lies to not keep the Most High's laws, because they're taught that it's not necessary anymore. That's done away with. They can't discern between good and bad, right and wrong, laws and no law, right, of the Most High. They can't discern that. That's the kind of world we're living in today. So isn't it the kind of world that seems to fit into this whole story of Nineveh, where the people of Nineveh cannot discern from their right hand and their left, but the Most High showed them mercy? So why can't people receive mercy today? Now I'm not saying a whole nation is going to get up outside there and change next year or next month. In this case, in the story with Jonah, it said that. But what you might have today is just one or two here and there, 2 or 3 here and there, people from other nations around us might hear us teaching and talking on the streets or on YouTube and so on, and might come. It might more happen like that, right? And you do have people who are coming like that from other nations, right? And you got other teachers out there of Israel who are cursing these people, saying, oh, it's not for you, it's not for you. No, if people want to come, let them come. Let them come. Right? Because if you were the heathen and you really wanted to change your heart and you loved the God of Israel, you wouldn't want anyone to bar you either. And remember, if they're going to carry our children on their shoulders, it's going to be the ones of them who believe us and who have compassion on us who will do those kinds of things, to take us back to where their forefathers should not have taken us from. Those are the ones who have learned of our God, love our God, right? And so the silly things, the silly speeches out there, oh, they can never love God. It's not in their heart. Like, come on, it's the word that changes hearts. Because wasn't Israel called Gentiles as well? We didn't love the Most High. But by finding His word all over again and now learning Torah, now our hearts are being changed, right? So to close it off here, Exodus 33 verse 19. Because this is showing me here kind of like what happened with Nineveh, right? How Nineveh was spared in Jonah 4 verse 11. Exodus 33:19. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Most High before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious. That don't need no real explanation right there. It's just straightforward, right? And will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. Now, if you look at this word mercy, it's talking about to love deeply, to be compassionate, have tender affection, as opposed to destruction. Well, what do you think happened to Nineveh? He didn't bring the destruction on them because they changed, right? And put away their evil. So what they received was mercy. They received tender affection from the Most High, right? To have compassion. He had compassion on them because they didn't know their right from their left, it's saying. They were just at that level, and it's like he rather chose to have compassion on them, right? In fact, but by him sending Jonah, he was already putting mercy on the table where they're concerned. That's the reason why he sent Jonah anyway, to give them that opportunity to receive that mercy from him, that tender compassion from him, right? To have compassion upon, or love and show mercy, right? Pity. So, I don't know. Sometimes the thing is that when some of us first came into this thing, I remember, just a few decades ago, things were really tough with lots of more outright racism, although it's still there now, but it was just really bad. So you find like lots of pressures on us and money problems and job problems. We're getting the lower jobs and whatever, and police this and whatever. It's easy to just get angry, and I'm not saying don't get angry, because listen, we can't just sit down and just love what's happening to our people. That is ridiculous, right? But at the same time, you got to balance that with knowing that if the Most High says He will show mercy upon whoever, then if people are crying out for mercy from the Most High, saying, I don't want to be destroyed with my people, because now I'm hearing of your word, you're saying you're going to bring destruction upon the people who hurt your people and kept them enslaved and so on. I never agreed with it, I don't want it, or I repent, I want to find you, learn more about you, Most High. Have mercy on me. Why should we block that person from receiving the mercy of the Most High? That's cruel. If the Most High is choosing to show mercy unto people, you shouldn't get in the way of that. Right? I don't know. It's tough making a lesson like this, because then people who don't have their heart in the right place they just want to misunderstand you and speak against you and so on. But I gotta go where I gotta go. I gotta go where I'm being driven, right? And I don't know, like, should you be a preacher of hate or restoration? Because the whole world needs to be restored. Something is wrong with the whole world. And the Most High has chosen Israel, set up as His people, to play a very important top part in that restoration by teaching the world who He is and that He is the true God. That's what Micah 4:2 is talking about, right? The whole world needs restoration. It's just that their time for salvation collectively is later on, like Micah 4:2. Later on. But if you get a trickle coming in now, hey, And remember I told in that video of Rahab, who's like, no, listen, I want to be saved out of this destruction. I want to be saved. In her case, it was just her. In this case, it was a whole city dealing with Nineveh. But she was like, no, I want to side with your God. I want to help you. I'll give you information you need to be strategic here, right? But I want to be saved out of this destruction. Thanks for listening.